Good morning, everybody. It is so wonderful to see you all here today, everybody who's here in person, all of our wonderful folk who are joining us online and or via YouTube later. No matter where you are, when you are, in your life, in the world, wherever you're seeing us, we're glad you're here with us. I'm Chris Tackett. I am your music director here at Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Church. We're up on the northwest side of Tucson, Arizona. This morning, we are talking about pride. Our settled minister, the Reverend Matthew Funk Crary, was out this weekend. He was at the Pride Parade Friday night. He was at the Pride celebration yesterday at Reed Park. I think we have some lovely photos of him in the beautiful owl costume, inflatable owl costume, looking really fun and having fun dancing there. And I also want to say a huge thank you. Today you'll get to hear from our choir, and I'm grateful for them being here. Our tech people who help make sure that you can hear and see everybody this morning, Lee, Dan, and Andy. Thank you all very much. Joel and his hospitality team, all of our wonderful welcoming committee and team that are normally with us every Sunday. Everybody who has a hand in putting these services together, thank you. So, we're celebrating Pride today. What is pride? Well, it is indeed one of the 7 deadly sins. It also goeth before a fall. But that's not the kind of pride we're talking about today. We're talking about LGBTQ plus, etc. pride. The whole alphabet soup of gender and sexual orientation and the wonderful soup of diversity that goes to make up the world. I've talked a little bit before about the history of Pride, how in June of 1969, a group of trans people, genderqueer, drag queens, homeless gay youth, and a whole lot of other people who, by most people's standards, would be called the rejects of society, were at the Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village, late in the month of June, 1969. The lights came up, the police came in and raided, which was a very common occurrence. If you were in any place where that was considered a gay bar, you expected raids very often. But for whatever reason, that night, somebody, we're not entirely sure who, but the leading contenders are Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson, someone stood up and said, no, we're not going to do this again. Hurled a brick, and a 3-day fight. It's hard to call it a riot because it wasn't that many people, but still, it was a fight that resonated around the world. And many other similar events happening in other cities across the country at more or less the same time. Nothing planned. It was just that time in the world, and it was ripe for this. The next year, in June of 1970, they held a picnic rally at the Stonewall just to mark the occasion. The following year, 1971, they started a parade. And little by little, the gay celebration parades started, and slowly over the years they morphed into Pride. So across the country and around the world, usually the month of June is Pride Month. I don't know, y'all live here in Tucson. Tell me what it's like to be outside in June. So we tend to have our Pride celebrations in September and October, when usually it's much more pleasant to be outside. Thank you, whatever caused our lovely heat wave this year. It was 106 yesterday at the park. But today, we mark and we celebrate and we remember all the wonderful diversity of our incredible world we live in. I always take a second here in front of you. Yep, there we go. Make sure it's off. Doesn't hurt to check yourselves. I'd like to begin this morning, though, with a piece by Billy Strayhorn. He was a young man born around the turn of the last century a few years after the turn of the last century, in North Carolina. He grew up in Pittsburgh, a city where I grew up, near where I grew up. And in 1939, he met Duke Ellington, one of his all-time idols. Billy Strayhorn was a kind of a smallish, slight, some might even say delicate man, gay black man in the 1920s and 30s. He never hid who he was. He never pretended to be anybody else. But he went on to become a composer and arranger, songwriter in his own right, and very much the right-hand man to Duke Ellington. Many of the famous pieces of Duke Ellington, the things that were his big hits, a good number of them were actually written by Billy Strayhorn. And this is one of my favorites of his pieces. It's a piece called Lotus Blossom.
For our chalice lighting, we'll do something a little different. I'm going to play a quick song for you all. It's called Cold Frosty Morning. I tried to find who wrote it, but the first person ever performed it was Henry Reed. So that's the best I got for you, but here we go.
Please rise as you are able in body or in spirit as we sing our first hymn for this morning, Break Not the Circle, number 323. So you may have noticed while you were singing that we have some guests in the front. Our fantastic RE program is joining us for a little story time. This story is called Julian is a Mermaid by Jessica Love. This is a boy named Julian.
And this is his abuela.
And these are some mermaids.
Julian loves mermaids.
Vámonos, mijo. This is our stop.
Abuela, did you see the mermaids?
I saw them, mijo.
Abuela, I'm also a mermaid.
I'm going to take a bath. You be good. Julian has an idea.
Uh-oh.
Love this. Come here, mijo.
For me, abuela?
For you, Julian.
Where are we going?
You'll see, says Abuela.
Mermaids? Whispers Julian.
Like you, mijo. Let's join them.
And they do.
You want to do this?
In 1978, Harvey Milk challenged artist and activist Gilbert Baker to create a new symbol for the gay community. Taking inspiration from the rainbow, a natural symbol of beauty and diversity, Baker designed the first rainbow flag. He saw the rainbow as a reflection of both the diversity of LGBTQ community and the spectrum of human sexuality. He wanted a flag that could stand for hope, love, and unity. So he carefully picked each color to represent different parts of life and identity, creating a vibrant and beautiful spectrum. We nod to the origins of the rainbow flag and the expanded representation of colors today as we journey through a colorful meditation together.
As we move now into a time of meditation, I invite you to get as comfortable as you can. Sit back, plant your feet on the ground, rest your hands in your lap, and let your shoulders relax. Feel the chair supporting you. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, let go of any stress as we settle into this moment of peace. Now you can close your eyes if you like, or softly focus on the images on the screens. With eyes opened or closed, breathe each color in and out as we visit its symbolism and vibrance. Our colorful adventure begins with red. Red symbolizes life and the courage to live authentically. Shining through next is orange, representing healing and the joy of embracing who we are. Yellow glows in sunlight and the warmth of connection and belonging. Green grows into the next spot, signifying nature and the growth from self-discovery. Blue embodies serenity and the peace we seek within ourselves and with others. Indigo reflects harmony and the mystery of our evolving identities, with its close neighbor, violet, representing spirit and the transformation we experience through love and acceptance. We honor the resilience and strength of people of color with black and brown. Light blue, light pink, and white together symbolize the depth of truth, the tenderness of self-care, and the wholeness that comes from embracing our full, authentic selves. They celebrate the diversity of gender identities, recognizing the sacredness of transgender, non-binary, and intersex individuals, and the beauty of living in authenticity. Each color, like each person, adds to the richness and beauty of the whole. As we breathe deeply, let us remember that this rainbow isn't just a symbol. It reminds us that each of us contributes a unique shade to the mosaic of our community. And in our differences lies our shared humanity. In this sacred space, let us commit to fostering an environment where love is our guide. Let us open our hearts to the promise of a more inclusive world. May we draw strength from one another and find inspiration in the shared dream of the place where we are all free to be ourselves, to live fully and to love and be loved. With this shared vision, let us now settle into a space of openness and hope, ready to be carried away on the wings of a beautiful melody. May the music resonate deeply within us, reminding us of the beauty of our collective dreams and the promise of a world where every color shines brightly.
When all the world is a hopeless jumble and the raindrops tumble all around, heaven opens a magic lane. When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow highway to be found, leading from your window pane to a place behind the sun, just a step beyond the rain. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow,
As the choir returns to their seats and we say goodbye to our friends from RE, thanks for joining us. I know, it's so beautiful and wonderful in here. It's hard to say goodbye. We've been experimenting a little bit with our announcement times, and today we're doing it now. So I would like to invite up Vince to start us off.
Hi, I'm sure most of you know I'm Vincent Pulowski, and facilitating the climate revival starting this afternoon. After you've had some snacks and enjoyed yourself, we're going to be doing the first part of the facilitated adult dialogues in the Mesquite Room, unless like all of you show up, and then we'll do it here. I wish. So this is a radically different form of working ideas together. I'm not going to tell you why, because you have to come to see. But today, this afternoon, we do the first part. Saturday next week, we're going to do that over again, the first part, so you can attend one or the other. I've got some volunteers doing the first one. And then in the afternoon, we're going to collaborate, put all of our group visions together and come up with a vision for the whole congregation. And then on Sunday, Matthew will have a multi-generational service with help from Stacy and the kids, and you will be amazed. There's something that's 5 feet in diameter that will surprise you. I won't tell what. I'm keeping some secrets. And in the afternoon, we will have an advocacy organizing hour where we will determine what we would like to do as a congregation in the near, middle, and long term regarding to climate. So get in touch with me if you have any more questions. Thanks.
Good, glorious morning. So, it's the time to start, not only for climate justice, but for our series, our 5-week series. That's every Thursday in October. We are having a series of lectures and questions and answers. It will start at 10:30 and leaves and in sometime an hour, hour and a half later. It depends on how many people are here and how many questions they have. So here we go. The kickoff is this coming Thursday. I'm very, very pleased. I'm sure you've seen in the newsletter and online the advertisement for it. And I'm very pleased to have been one of the organizers of it. I've had a wonderful team with me, and I appreciate their help so very much. This is being sponsored by the Adult Education Committee, and it is being sponsored by the Program Council. It will be available on Zoom, and if you register, you will get the Zoom address for all of the sessions. You can either watch them at 10:30 every Thursday, or you can watch them later whenever you wish, and we will have connections for that as well. Several people have told me they have difficulty getting onto the registration, and I apologize for that. I'm not wise enough to know why that happened, and so I've enlisted Stephanie in our office, who, if you just give her a call, will help you sign in. I do hope to see many of you here in our sanctuary, and I hope that others will be able to watch it later. Thank you so very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Cheryl Berman.
And I'm John Geiger, and we are the coordinators for Contigo.
We have 2 great families from Venezuela. Thank you. Living currently with Reverend Christiana and her wife Melva, can you wave there? That we are helping as they make Tucson their home. Willie, Juana Anais, and William, age 8, and also Gabrielle, Sarubi, and Liam, age 6.
And if you are interested in volunteering with helping these families or finding out more about what's going on, please talk to us after the service in the Oasis.
Thank you.
Tom Bunch to the principal's office, please. Tom Bunch, report to the principal's office.
Each week we gather because we are bound by our commitment to walk alongside one another through life's journey, through the joys, the challenges, and everything in between. As we celebrate Pride today, we honor the vibrant spectrum of experiences, identities that make up our community. Just as the colors of the rainbow reflect the diversity of life, so too do our stories, bringing moments of courage and healing, connection and growth, joy and reflection.
In this ritual of joys and sorrows, we pause to honor these moments that shape us. The water before us, which Tom will now pour, comes from our Sonoran skies, our homes, and our collective travels, and represent our shared journey as a congregation. This water symbolizes the collective experiences that bind us together. Tom will now place stones into the water. The first stones are for the struggles and losses that are deeply felt among us, those moments of pain, fear, and hardship that many in our community have faced and are facing. Also, a special nod to the people who are currently dealing with the devastation of climate change in North Carolina. The next stones are for the moments of celebration and joy, known to some, but unspoken here today. Moments of love, acceptance, and triumph that we hold close. Finally, stones for the transitions and transformations in our lives, those seasons of change, discovery, and self-acceptance that are yet to be shared.
As we engage in our community ritual of dropping stones, may we be reminded of the strength and resilience within us and around us. Like the threads of a tapestry, we are interconnected, each one of us contributing to the richness and beauty of our community.
Before we conclude this ritual, we pause to honor the more than 39 million lives lost to the AIDS epidemic worldwide, and tens of millions more are currently living with HIV. We light this candle as a tribute to their lives, their struggles, and their enduring legacy. Let these candles serve as a reminder of the love that binds us and the work that remains to be done. If you have joys and sorrows that you wish to be shared on your behalf, our pastoral care team, Sally, Tom, Silvana, Cheryl, and Reverend Matthew, welcome your stories with open hearts. They're here to listen, to celebrate, and hold space for you as a part of our community ritual.
I was a boy in the 70s, young man, late 70s, early 80s, realizing I was gay, 78, 79, 90, 80, somewhere in there. And so I wound up coming out and discovering my community just as this strange cancer started to be known among gay men. And the beginning stages, by the time I was out and meeting people and becoming a part of the community, AIDS had devastated a lot of it. A lot of people talk about, I'm sure you've heard most of the medical history about it. The difficulty was being a young gay man facing a community like that. The entrenched patterns of shame, of grief, of terror, of being told, oh, so many of my own friends, thrown out of their own families, their parents, their communities, them coming out and trying to live an honest life, and their community all going, well, then we don't want you here. So one of the disturbing parallel pandemics, along with AIDS, was the social issues of it. So many people dealt with that grief and that shame. Into the middle of that, a number of friends and I living in the Pittsburgh area discovered a book by Louise Hay called You Can Heal Your Life. This is my original copy from 1985 or so. It says over 300,000 in print. Because this one's hardened, the glue binding is, I don't want it to crack and explode. I bought a new copy. This is the current copy. International bestseller, over 50 million copies sold. Shortly after we came back into life after our own recent pandemic and we started transitioning back into live in-person services here, a woman came up to me after the service and very quietly said, "Are you gay?" And I was like, I haven't had anybody ask me that question that way in over 20 years. And she talked to me a little bit more, and we come to find out that she'd been right in the middle of it with Louise, and it turned out to be our very own Linda Logan, and it's my great pleasure to have her tell us a little bit about her life and her work with Louise Hay and Hay House.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone who's here in the room and who's at home. With your talking about Louise, it's brought back a lot of feelings and memories. I worked directly with Louise Hay for a number of years, traveling around the country, doing workshops and helping people to come into a place where they could love themselves. This is what our work was about, to bring people back into a place of self-worth, feeling of self-worth. I'm especially honored to be able to speak here to you today because Pride Week means a lot to me because of what I went through and the people that I loved and the people who became my best friends and all of that. It was an amazing period of time that I worked with this. So I chose the title of You Can Heal Your Life because this is true then and now. It was written by Louise Hay, and it changed, I can see it changed your life, and it certainly changed mine. Thousands of other people have read this book, millions I see now, and it takes me back to a period of my life experience that made me aware of the true pride and courage of the gay community. You see, it takes bravery to forge ahead in a culture that seeks to marginalize and ostracize you. I understand that from a very personal place also. You know, it never fails to amaze me how life moves you around from place to place and puts you exactly where you need to be in the perfect location to learn what you need to learn at that point in time. I had moved from the Midwest, Minnesota, to the East Coast, New York, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and then back across the country with an extended stop in Chicago. Along the way then I got to Los Angeles. You see, I was always searching for and inevitably finding at every stop a new teacher or teachers to move me along on my spiritual quest. After years of stability, of working jobs and staying on jobs, I found myself going from job to job, searching for my life purpose. It was Los Angeles, specifically West Hollywood, when things began to come together. Finally, the moving sidewalk of life made a stop in West Hollywood, where I took the job with the manager of a jazz guitarist, George Benson, who you may be familiar with. It was there that one of my coworkers began to talk about a teacher and a meeting that he attended on a weekly basis with someone named Louise Hay. Something in me knew that in my heart this was my next step, even though, quite honestly, I didn't know who Louise Hay was. That week, I found myself in her living room, fixated by her message. She believed, as I did, that our emotional beliefs and attitudes affect our physiological and psychological well-being. In essence, Louise's teaching were to build a sense of self-worth, self-respect, and self-love. To let go of the opinions of others about you and to realize and to embrace your own self-worth. At that time, this theory was looked upon as not factual or scientific, kooky, a little too new agey. Over the years, however, it has become a part of the diagnosis process. I know when I call the doctors or go in, they'll ask me, how are you feeling psychologically? Have you felt like committing suicide? All of these things have to be taken in to understand the whole person. Over the years, it has been discovered that she was definitely on track. She was definitely, in some circles, before her time. Science has finally caught up. I didn't waste any time after having gone to that meeting. Within weeks, I was working with her organization, Hay House, as a counselor and secretary. The secretary part didn't last very long because I'm a horrible secretary. So one day, they fired me from that job in one room and took me into the next room and said, we want you now to be a more active part of this organization. We understand your counseling skills and your beliefs are so in sync with what is happening here. It was in the midst of the devastating AIDS epidemic, and Louise had begun the Louise Hay Ride in West Hollywood Park, where I and others assisted her as she worked with those who were experiencing this disease. Her message, delivered with gentleness and sincere caring, resounded with this group of devastated individuals. On those Wednesdays, which I came to want to be there more than any other place in the world, it was an amazing sight to watch as the hall would quickly fill to overflowing with hundreds of people, nearly all of them gay men. They sat on chairs on the floor, any place that they could find a space to squeeze in to this place where they knew they were going to be supported. They were in various stages of the disease, some in wheelchairs and wrapped in blankets, others still mobile, but were marked by the telltale purple blotches of the Kaposi sarcoma. It was on their faces and arms. They couldn't hide it. Some apparently were in good health at the moment. But more than that, there was a total immersion into love and support for each person who came into that room. I've never felt so much love. I've never felt so much support from one community. I was there to help them, and they helped me to become a more unconditional, loving person. I adored those guys. I loved them so much and still do. Some of them were accompanied by loving and anguished family members. The majority, however, did not have that support. And they would share stories of being banished from their families and being left to face this dilemma alone, feeling shame and often self-hatred. The loving atmosphere they experienced in that hall was a necessity for their hope for survival. It seemed that every week someone would stand and say, "I haven't been diagnosed yet." And there would be cheers in the hallway, in that hall, and everyone had hope. They felt hope. However, they would return the next week to say that they had been diagnosed, bringing on a hushed, frightened silence over the gathering. I did not escape unscathed. I had formed many, many friendships there, but a very special one with a beautiful young man, Matthew Daniels, who became truly my best friend. We traveled together to teach Louise Hay workshops in this country and Canada. He became a part of my family and was accepted and became loved even by some of the members who were ready and wanting to reject him because he was gay. But he was irresistible. They had to love him. I loved him. When he finally shared that he had been diagnosed and had developed the dreaded Kaposi sarcoma, I was and remained devastated, frozen in that moment. He left quickly, but not before meeting and being loved by a wonderful man. He left happy. I will always regret that I could not bear to go into the hospital and sat in my car screaming when I knew that he was dying. When I calmed down, I realized that we had shared too much laughter to say our goodbyes in tears. And I thought, one more laugh, Matthew. And what I decided to do was to bring a pair of my stiletto high heels that he had loved to be cremated with him. I know that got a chuckle out of that. I did. Those years were an incredibly traumatic time, filled with tears and funerals. However, it was also a time of laughter and friendships cemented for a lifetime. After all of those years, I still receive regular calls from those who survived. They tell me about their successful businesses and careers that they have built and long-term happy marriages and relationships. They are in excellent health and have an incredible appreciation for life that can only come from what they had experienced and narrowly escaped. I am so happy that I was able to be of service to those beautiful spirits and that I could be there and learn how to love, as I said, unconditionally, accepting, hugging, at a time when you weren't supposed to even touch anyone with AIDS. Couldn't help it. We hugged. We were there for each other. It was a wonderful period, even though it tore me apart emotionally. I would like to pay tribute to them now by sharing the song that we sang every Wednesday night at West Hollywood Park. I did not have to close my eyes to see those beautiful men singing their hearts out. And the song was I Love Myself. It's a song that comes back to me quite often. And I sort of did my little sing-songy thing of it a few months ago. However, it never fails to mean everything to me. And the song goes, I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. You see, I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love myself the way I am, but I still want to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know that I am beautiful and capable of being the best me I can, and I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am. Every time we would sing that song, we'd see the hope in all of them, the desire to live, but understanding that death is inevitable. What a wonderful period of my life that was. My only message to you at this point is, love yourselves. Each of you, look inside and realize the treasure that is within you. Allow yourself to be all that you can be. And remember that you are beautiful and capable of being the best you can possibly be. Love yourselves. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm right back in those rooms. I'm right back in those rooms filled with people singing that song, and rips the guts right out of me. Your turn to sing, though. I need you to stand, and I need you to sing for me this incredible protest song from the wonderful and incredible Holly Neer, who I think is coming to Tucson sometime soonish. I'll keep you posted as I know more. Often this is sung as an absolute dirge. I can't do that this morning. I need your help. And let's keep it moving. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are all of us together, and we are singing for our lives. We are all of us together, and we are singing singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. Thank you all so very, very much. Please be seated. So in everything that we've talked about this morning and everything that we've touched on, we have only barely scratched the surface of the incredible diversity and power and the beautiful rainbow of the LGBTQIA2S, commonly referred to as the alphabet soup of the community. And we all have different definitions. And I'm going to put these two over here on the spot. Yes, you got, come on. Robin, what does pride mean to you?
For me, as someone who has never truly had to face adversity for my identity, other things sure, but my identity, not so much. So pride, to me, is a time to celebrate with the people that I love, but it is also a very important reminder that I may have been fortunate, but many have not been and are not. And so this means it is still a time for work.
Alex, what does pride mean to you?
Well, funny thing is, I've obviously known I was gay for a while, but I never had much interest in being a part of the festivals or anything. Oddly enough, my mom got me into that, even before I think I came out to her, which she's a mother, she knows. Hi, Mom. She's watching on Zoom right now.
Hi, Mom.
But over time, going there almost every year with my mom, the Salt Lake City Pride, one thing you see, I mean, granted, you see all the businesses and stuff supporting, gay people and all that. It's like, great, good job. You'll do this for a month and you'll be done, whatever. But in reality, it is you just see all these people here that are just being themselves, and it's that place, and this is a very generic answer, but it's true, it's that place where everyone can be themselves, not just gay people or lesbians, whoever, anyone. So, and that is a nice place to have, and we need more of that.
Yeah, rainbow capitalism is a whole topic that we could talk for days about. And the wonderful, it's wonderful that businesses want our money, but it's also not been so pleasant over the last couple of years as businesses under protest from other places will pull away that support. I'm thinking specifically of the space in Target that 2 or 3 years ago was almost the size of this room. And last couple of years it's been barely the size of, right here. So pride means an awful lot to a lot of different people. A lot of what I grew up with and a lot of the men I grew up with who are no longer with us, and all the wonderful young people coming up, and the places and the people and the beautiful growth and change. And little by little, the world is getting better. As someone very famous once said, the arc of moral justice the arc of justice may be long. I'm butchering this, aren't I? The arc of the universe may be long, but in the end it bends towards justice. And I recently heard someone say, and that's because of all of us pushing and pulling and working together. For the chalice extinguishing, I chose a piece from the book, and I'd like to ask Alex to read it now. It's kind of the summational bit of the entire book.
In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. Each one of us, myself included, experiences the richness and fullness of life in ways that are meaningful to us. I now look at the past with love and choose to learn from my old experiences. There is no right or wrong, nor good or bad. The past is over and done. There is only the experience of the moment. I love myself for bringing myself through this past into this present moment. I share what and who I am, for I know we are all in one in spirit. All is well in my world.
And you know, though, in the midst of all of it, and our political differences, and oh, there can be infighting in the community, and all the challenges we still face from the outside, you know what? Pride is still the perfect excuse for a great big party.